You taught youth all over from Trenton to Princeton. That mentorship work is powerful. Mm-hmm. What is it like teaching young people how to express themselves through spray paint?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. You really have to really give them strict guidelines because with spray paint, they could tear some stuff up in a short amount of time. You have to really guide them through it, teach them how to do it. One of the biggest issues too is it's hard for them to push the cap down on the spray paint and be able to get the can control.
Yeah, that's hard. I've tried that before, bro, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do that and then do these elaborate pieces or very detailed.
It takes a lot of practice, but with kids, I always just say, the important thing is for them to have fun. There was times when I had taught after school program and in Trenton, and it was like there was days where I was just like, man, none of these kids are getting this. It's not working, And then like I remember like I would see the kids like 10 years later, this tells you how old I am, but it's like the kids are in college or after college or working at, a local restaurant or something. And they're like, oh, come up to me like, oh, listen, Mr. Rainbow, I remember you from after school, da 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 da. And it's just like, wow, these kids actually remember me. And these kids, that at that point, you made an impact.
Yes.
Even though sometimes it didn't feel like it in the moment, I've been around long enough to see the after effects and that, you really did make an impact. But sometimes it was just like, man, I'm not dealing with this. Because I've thought about doing teaching, but I'm just like, man, I can't deal with these kids for 8 hours a day. I would probably lose my mind or beat one of them. You know what I mean? It's just like I could do after school, like couple hours, something like that. But it's just, I don't know how people do it. And, it's crazy because whenever I do after school, I think about how messed up I was as a teenager. I was ruthless. I feel bad for all the teachers that I had in high school and junior high school. You know what I mean? I was just like, man, I couldn't, when I think about it and I'm like, man, this is like my penance, is to teach these same type of kids as I was when I was growing up. Little knuckleheads, you know what I mean? And that's how I was. And I've had, to pass that on. But, it's like, I feel like a lot of my experience of being in different situations really can help, not just from an art standpoint. There's a lot of different things, working together as a team and, team building, all those different things you learn from doing a mural because everything has your part could be amazing, but if the whole rest of the wall doesn't work, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? The whole thing has to work together. So, you figure out what different people's strengths are and, kind of put them together and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, trust me. My most successful friends is like, bro, run from that. Why are you trying to help? Especially me, I'm trying to help the kids from the inner city, right. The ones that are gangs or going down the wrong way where, right. God forbid, one foot's in the cemetery, the other one's in the prison cell.
Absolutely.
And they're like, you want to deal with those kids, bro? Why? And I'm like, because I was a troubled teen, you know what I'm saying? And I almost lost a large part of my life to the jail system because of a bad decision. So that's why I'm so, stronghold on helping the youth, But I know at times it could be challenging.
Absolutely.
I get some kids coming here looking like they don't want to be here, but then once they see the walls and all the things that I've been blessed to do, and they'll be like, you met all these people? Now you got their attention. And I'll be like, bro, I'm just like you, bro. I come from nothing.
Right.
I didn't have much, so if it can happen for me, it can happen for you as well.
Absolutely.
So is there any particular student that sticks out to you that you felt like you really made a big impact on?
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like it's kind of like a lot of those kids, like I've seen them grow up and, I've seen them like kind of do different things. Some of the older people that I've taught have kind of pursued art, but not really a particular student in general, but it's just, good to be able to help different people. And, you never know, I have people now that are really in art, they're already artists, but I'm just kind of helping them with their skill sets and stuff.
Sharpen them up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some highlights. What's some of your personal favorite murals or collaborations you ever done?
Oh man, like I feel like one of the favorite ones that we did was like the Ice-T original gangster backdrop. That was my favorite one from that era, because like growing up in California, like oh man, I would just like I loved Ice-T, and just Ice-T, Ice Cube, all those different ones, and just like you never think you'll meet people like that, when you're young, you know what I mean? And then you're like, painting like a background for them or, like, meeting these different people, it was really cool. And then to see it print in a magazine, that was just like awesome. But yeah, I really like how that one, the funny story with that one is I started, and sometimes like I try to tell people, it's not that I can't spell, but it's just like, you get so into how all the letters and how everything figures out. I remember you came out and you're like, you spelled original wrong. And I was like, oh God, and that was one of the craziest stories. I'm like, damn, I spelled original wrong on the original gangster thing for Ice-T. And luckily it was like, you were the only one that saw it at that time because I was so embarrassed, but I was like, the good thing with spray paint is you could fix it really easy. I was able to like just go in and really just
It's funny. I forgot about that too. You just mentioned it.
Yeah, that was funny. But that happens a lot. Like, I mean, I've spelled my own crew name wrong. You know what I mean? Like Vicious Styles. When we first started doing it, I always spelled it wrong almost every time. But it's just like you're so into how the letters fit together that sometimes it's just like like I've literally looked at it in Google and had it right there and still have done it wrong. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. But I am a little bit dyslexic. But
No, that's funny. No, because I remember after that, every time you like, bro, before I do this, is this spelled right?
Right. But there was other people too that spelled their names all crazy, one of the ones too that was crazy was them Franchise Boys.
Oh yeah.
And I remember it was like they had certain letters, it was like a Z instead of an S, and it was like, but they had to be like spelled like how they spell it, even though it wasn't correct, but it was like
the slang. Yeah.
Certain one, it just had to be a certain way. So I'm like, man, it's almost like writing it in a different language. I'm like, if you show it to me, I don't care what languages, I could do it, but I can't, certain ones I can't do the left to right thing. I got to do it how I do it.
And it's funny you say Ice-T because that's the same thing like you, bro. Like I grew up a humongous fan. I couldn't even believe he was in the studio.
Right.
Out of all the shoots I ever done, that's probably the only one that my mom was like, I'm coming to. I want to meet him. And it was crazy. Like, it was dope just having him in the facility, a big fan. And remember from all the movies, New Jack City, Trespass, all that stuff. So it was definitely.
He was super cool, too.
Definitely. Humble,
definitely
cool.
Like a humble, cool dude. Like,
most definitely.
Yeah, like it was crazy because some of the ones I remember when we, like, I forgot which model it was, but I remember.
I know which one.
A model. Well, I'm not gonna say the name. Whatever.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
One model where we were doing a photo shoot, and you had to talk to her person. Then the other, and I had that happen to me at another time.
My wife was just telling that story recently. She's like, this person literally was not answering none of my husband's questions. She kept pointing to her manager to say, talk to him. I'm like, but I'm asking you just to take this picture. No, talk to him. So I know exactly who you're talking about, but we won't name drop.
Yeah. So I had another funny story with something like that. I had one of my friends had hooked me up with this job. The R. Kelly tour had come to Philly. So they're like, oh, they want you to do some backdrops on the stage, right? So I went down there, and was crazy. I wound up getting paid triple. But what happened was I did the DJ's thing, right? And they, they're little, they're small, like this big, but it's gonna be seen from the stage. So, it's just the dude went and talked to R. Kelly or whatever. I guess it was his manager or whoever it was. But it was like whoever the DJ was, he felt like the DJ was gonna get too much shine, and he made me tone it down, like. And I'm like, what? I'm not doing that. And they was just like, yo, you're going to have to do it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. And I was fighting with these people. And what wound up happening was they're like, listen, you're going to have to do it, but it opens you up to getting paid more money. So I charged him for the original one, the one that I did. Like I charged him triple for that, and they paid me in cash triple. But it was just crazy that it really was the way the dude was explaining it to him, and but it was like crazy because the dude was right there, but I couldn't talk to him directly. It was goofy, but it it worked out.
What is your favorite piece that you ever done that you're proud of?
Man, I have to say that MetLife Stadium one, man. That one, it was just, man, it was just like surreal, And a lot of those kind of projects for me just happen out of nowhere. Somebody looked up graffiti in New Jersey or was looking for somebody and came upon my name, and I get some weird call like, "Oh, we're doing this project at MetLife Stadium and this I'm like, yeah, okay. And then, but it took a long time, a lot longer than, it was like they keep telling me like, oh, we're going to do it at the beginning of next month. And then it would get pushed another month. And I had to do a lot of design changes. But I'm glad that at least I got to do my artwork, and they let me do really like they changed like the things they changed were like the icons and stuff. They were like, oh, we want the shore. So I did things that represented the shore. I did the elephant that was at Cape May, and I did the Tilly, which is at Asbury Park, and then they took all those out, and we wound up going with the Statue of Liberty and the sign for the thing, from Sea Caucus, from the Route 3 sign. But it was really cool to be able to really be creative, to do my patterns, and to do like a graffiti style thing, but to do it in such like a venue like that where thousands of people will see it. And it was just like, man,
Some great advertising.
I know, man. And you know what it is? I'm like, man, I got
You do put your tag still on it, right? Okay.
I'm like, man, I got to do the only thing is that after the fact, I realized that it's in the suites. So not as many people will see it, but there'll be more high end. So, it's like that.
So potentially more money
right,
jobs.
Exactly. But I'm like, man, I got to do the Raiders Stadium now,
Of course, be like home.
That's why I got to try to, that's my next goal is to do some more stadiums.
Okay, that was my next question. And so what is your dream job or project you would love to do?
Man. I mean, it's kind of hard because, like that's a lot of these different projects that have happened. Like if I would have predicted it, never would have happened, But I would love to do some more like stadium stuff. Like I said, I love to do the Raiders or the A's because that's where I grew up with. But or just really do some really interesting. It's not really the thing, but I mean, there's a lot of different brands I'd love to work with, but I feel like just it'd be cool to do like the Olympics or
that'd be
something
fire,
like
bro.
that. Like, yeah, I'd love to do like something like that.
And that's coming
that's worldwide. You know what I mean? Like I feel like maybe the Olympics would be dope, or even like the FIFA thing. Because I'm not a big soccer fan, but it's crazy because it's worldwide.
Is there any artists or organizations you would like to collaborate with?
Man, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of different artists. I found out that I'm on the list for the next couple years for the Jersey City Mural Arts program.
Okay.
So I'd just like to speak that into existence. So far, they haven't reached out to me with a project, but, I would like to collaborate with them. They're doing some interesting stuff out there. But, there's a lot of different things. I'd love to do some stuff in California. I'd love to do some stuff on my reservation, and so far, it's just like everywhere else is politics, but I'd love to do something over there just because of, that type of, that's where my ancestors are from.
Who was your favorite artist growing up as far as graffiti artists?
Graffiti artists,
or somebody that you admire?
I feel like there's so many different ones, but like I really like Pose was my friend, but I really did love like all the effects stuff that they because they really created that production style, mixing graffiti with murals, and I think that them and Tats Crew were like the ones when I was coming up that they were just like, and then you got people from like the subway era, uh like Zephyr or Futura. There was some real cool Phase 2 RIP, but just like a lot of, there's so many different ones.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you with what I call quick lightning round.
Okay.
So say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Are you ready? Favorite spray paint brand?
MBQ.
Craziest place you ever painted?
10-story building in Miami.
Artist you love to collaborate with?
Oh man, right now, Keith Haring, even though he's passed, but
Paint to music, yes or no? And if so, what's your theme music to play with?
I just need it in the background. I'm not the DJ. My partner is, but I would say anything 90s hip hop.
Great answer. You can never go wrong with that.
Yeah.
What keeps you inspired?
Just the different people that I paint with, and just just the different cities and stuff.
All right, my brother. I thank you for coming today. Before you leave, could you give people ways to follow you, whether it's social media, how they could contact you if they'd like to book you for some murals?
Awesome. Yeah. So it's Aerosol Leon, AerosolLeon on Instagram, Twitter, even though I don't use Twitter. And my website is www.leonrainbow.com and jerseyfreshjam.com.
Leon, it's always a blessing connecting with you and hearing your story. Your work lives not just on walls, but in the lives you touch and the culture you help shape. For everyone listening, please make sure you follow Leon Rainbow on social media, check out his latest murals, and support the powerful work he's doing through art and education. Thank you. This is Media City Radio, Legend in the Game. I'm your host, Felix Natal Jr. Stay creative, stay inspired, and we'll see you next time. Peace and love. Thank you.
Peace.
Much
Thank
love,
you.
brother.